Alright, this is an intro for the breakdown of my thoughts on the operating sessions I just was part of. Ones I preferred, what I didn't like about things like that, and so on. It is a long video because I operated on 3 different layouts, and there's a lot, and I give a brief explanation of each video, each railroad. At least I think I did. At least I did on one. I don't remember if I did on the Maine and Western. I talked a little bit about the Finger Lakes Railway one, but for information on the Finger Lakes Railway, all you have to do is go to tier line customs. In fact, there's a link to one of his videos in the description on how he modeled something that the scene for the thumbnail and as a picture, 2 pictures, one of which is a thumbnail, reappears later in the video. So this is a long video. I think when I added it up, when looking, it's over 30 minutes long. But at the end of the video, towards the end of the video, I tell which layout I prefer to operate on and why and stuff like that. And I also go into it for each layout as well. So keep watching. For if you watch the whole video through. Most people don't, but critiques I have, the things I didn't like about railroads would not prevent me from operating them on them again. Let's put it that way. It's an enjoyable time. Didn't talk too much with most of the people there. A little bit with Mike. I did a lot of talking with the owner of the Maine and Western, but I was there the longest. I mean, the other 2 guys left long before I did, and him and I and his wife talked up in stairs in the kitchen after we had left the basement. So he was by far the one I talked to most. Next was Paul, and Mike would be third on that one. But I think I surprised everyone with maybe my first 3 operating sessions and doing so well. But I do kind of know what I'm doing, even though I've never operated. The thing that's new for me is operating as a group. And I don't think I've talked very much about that, but that's enough for the intro. Don't need to make this any longer. Then we go into the breakdown of the Maine and Western, and we'll see you there, which was actually filmed the day before more than the day before I'm filming this, because I filmed that video before midnight on the Friday, and this is after midnight on Sunday. So yeah, keep watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. There will be more videos. I don't have money right now, so I am kind of limited as to what I can do. But new locomotive in April, at least one, and then at the train show in April, and stuff from there. Yes, that will be coming. And then maybe in May will be the wood to finish the layout. So let's go to the operating session breakdown. All right, I just got back a little bit ago for my first operating session on a model railroad, and it was. So I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the weekend's operating sessions, various ones. I have already put, at this point, there's a community post with a selfie of me and a picture of the 3rd train I was running. This model railroad is a Maine and Western. It was a transition era fight, 1956, October 1956, set in it's a freelance railroad based on I can't remember, Portland and Ogdensburg, I think it was. Railroad runs from Portland, Maine, over to Quebec. And It has helper service. I actually was the first one to get there. We were supposed to get there half an hour early for orientation and visiting and meeting people and stuff like that. I was 8 minutes late from that because we were supposed to get really bad weather. We didn't get bad weather until on the way back. In fact, I'll be putting a community post up that will be up before this video is up of what the roads were like when I was coming through Mumford on the way back. I was got there at like 5:38, hour away from my house. Uh, I have a lanyard which I do not have on me. It's out in the car because I have to have it. I have to have it for tomorrow because I have two last to operate on tomorrow. In fact, when I get done with this, I have to feed the cats two more times, and then I'm going to bed because I have to be up early enough that I can get the cats fed and be at the next layout at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So, yeah, I'm not going to be up too late tonight, and I'm tired already. I mean, I was tired of coming home. It was uh, the day today. Drive up and the drive back was the worst parts of it. Operating that layout was wonderful. Very nice scenery. You'll if look at the community. If you haven't seen the community posts, go over to the community section of my channel and look at the pictures. I took six pictures in total. Uh, Four of them out of or may have been more pictures than that, of the first train I ran, which was a Boston and Maine train with a single RS2 or RS3 that I had a pair. I think Sadie's sitting next to me. I think she just farted. Ugh. I hope she did. That was all she did. That ran up from, is it westbound? Yeah, it's westbound. Helpers up the grade up to I think of the place, up to the top of the grade, and then he cut away. I had to pick up a milk reefer there and milk car there because it's set in Vermont. You got pulpwood and milk. That was especially in 1956. They had milk trains, and passenger trains that ran through that area. I had a milk car at the front, and they would pick up and drop off, pick up loaded milk cans and drop off empty ones at various different places. So that first train, basically a run through train, just picking up one car. And then the next train I ran was a local, which I was a conductor, and I had a guy named Walter. I can't remember his last name. He's from over the other side of the state. The other guy that was there was from Vermont. That's a long way to drive. He's on the other side of Lake Champlain. Had a long drive here. He was a guy from Vermont. Was a helper crew for my first train, and then Walter was the engineer for our second train, which did I run? Or did I run 5 trains? No, I ran. No, I did 4. Conductor on one, and an engineer conductor on 3. Uh, and at first it was a little daunting. It's the explanation of it. It's like, ooh, this is more complicated than mine because mine is just JMRI put type of build the train and it run and go through switching it. Operation the switch list were JMRI, so it's something I was familiar with. We gave him advice on what to do. We only had one problem running one train. We separated. When I got back to the yard, the car was still on the train because it wasn't one that had to be taken off. And when I was putting the cars away, I noticed the spring of the coupler came off. That's why it separated 2 or 3 times on us. Get down. And then the local, one little problem I forgot. I didn't notice boxcar that I ended up having to set out at another location. But I just let them know that at the time. Had no accidents, no derailments. Everybody was friendly. layout is wonderful scenery. In fact, New England is one of the regions that I considered modeling at one time because I've seen a lot of model railroads from that region, and the passengers and the milk adds a bit of operations to it. Uh, you have to stop. In fact, the third train I ran was a single locomotive with a milk car on the front and a combine uh, baggage passenger car, and I had to stop at every station on the way, including backing down the branch. See, stop, and stop. Then the last train I ran was actually after the other two guys left. I was talking to the owner, and we decided to run the main central through freight, which me as the train and him as the helper crew, and he helped shoved up the hill, which is the longest shove because it's up until just before it goes back into staging, and then I descended the hill on my own. He ran back down. Uh, so not tomorrow. I operate on a Baltimore, Ohio layout, which is set in Leroy and Caledonia, and up that way, and then on the Tierline Customs Finger Lakes Railway, and that will be in this video. And so that's my thoughts on this layout. We'll have more thoughts on the next two layouts tomorrow, and then I'll edit this video and put it out. So we'll see you later. Okay, this is a while after. I filmed the rest of this video before, but didn't get the chance to do it, and I did not sleep at all between, or maybe an hour, hour and a half between the Maine and Western and the B&O Buffalo Branch and Finger Lakes Railway. I got home, I laid down. I laid down for most of the time, but I only slept for at least half an hour, maybe an hour, hour and a half. I'm not exactly sure. I'll put a playlist on my phone and I'll listen to that. And usually by the time before it stops, before it pauses, asking if I'm going to watch, if I'm still watching, I've fallen asleep. But this time it didn't work. I tried putting other YouTube videos on, having it up there, because if I can't sleep, sometimes that will help. I'll fall asleep during like a live stream or something like that. Didn't work. So I was on no sleep. And surprisingly, a little tired coming back from Brockport. But managed to stay awake, managed to get home safely. I recorded 15 minutes of video and went to sleep, and then got up later and decided I need to redo it. So I've already put, if you were watching the screen, you would have seen photos from my visit to the Maine Western. Then today, well, actually it was yesterday because it is now like 3 something in the morning on Sunday. I have to put together all the penny savers I have to deliver and deliver them later. I should have done my Warsaw route yesterday, but after I got done at Paul's layout, I decided I was hungry. I was like, I'll go up to Bill Gray's. We're going to do dinner at Bill Gray's. So I went to Bill Gray's. First time I've been up there. Thankfully, I had an extra $20 because my meal was $14.89. that's expensive. That's expensive for me. I mean, I usually go if I go to a restaurant, it's either fast food or a local restaurant, and in Perry, that's I think a hamburger with fries is $8. Yeah. Uh, Not a food critique, but I don't think I would go to not. This is not video talking about the food, but I don't think I would go to Bill Gray's again. Wasn't really impressed. It wasn't. It was not worth $15. No, not at all. The burger was dry. The patty was poorly formed. It was falling apart. The roll was tough on the outside, so you try to bite the roll and the burger breaks apart. The burger patty breaks apart. Not a good burger. Not a good burger at all. Not worth $15. Would not go back again. But now let's talk about the next layout. The next layout was a Buffalo division, with the Baltimore, Ohio Buffalo division. Now this layout sort of connects with my layout that's upstairs, because this guy, he's modeling the Baltimore, Ohio. I don't think I don't remember the year he's modeling. I think it's sometime in the 50s. He's got some steam, but mostly the trains run on diesel. And there I ran two trains. I ran the Lehigh Valley local, which runs out of East Staging, goes around the layout, he's got a loop, goes from East Staging across through P&L Junction, around the corner, through Leroy, and then into Staging. And the DL&W local is in a siding in West Staging. And you pass that and you come back out, and then you go back around twice, and then you do work in P&L Junction, which is serving General Crush Stone, Lehigh Valley Freight House, and interchanging cars with his freelance railroad, the Genesee Northern. Cars are swapped out on a one-for-one basis, and they're set. It's a set thing to do. It's like the Lehigh Valley has one car that has two cars that go to the freight house. You swap the one, you pull the other. General Crush Stone, you put in 4 empties, you pull out 4 loads, and then when you restage it for the next session, you undo what you did. And I helped them restage it, and in fact, I was the last one to run a train in the layout, because I pulled one of the trains out of the West B&O staging, or South staging, or whatever you want to call it. Ran up to Rochester, swapped the cars that were in Rochester that we had spotted before, and then returned to Staging, ran around the train, showed it into Staging. That kind of operating scheme is not what I would do. It's definitely all right for a guest. The main thing that is the best thing about this layout is the scenery, and I will put several pictures of the scenery. I took a lot of photos. I took some photos of me when I was of the train of the Lehigh Valley local, and then I took a couple. I ran the Erie local, which makes a total of 6 laps around that loop, because it comes out of East Staging, it goes around twice, then it switches P&L Junction. What does it do in P&L Junction? It interchanges with the Genesee Wyoming, then it goes back through the loops, and then serves a produce place in Leroy. In fact, the building that it serves is actually still in Leroy, and it serves the freight house, which is not there. Right? Well, it was there. That freight house is not there anymore. I don't think. No, it's not. The B&O one is. And then it goes 2 loops and then back to Staging. Again, has set cars on there. 3 for the G&W. I would say the focus of that layout is more scenery. Operating scheme, I absolutely would operate again. He's 30 minutes from my house. Absolutely would go up there again. Not an operating scheme that I would put on a layout. I mean, I did January because I like random things that were more realistic. Not too realistic. when it comes to operations, as far as you do things and then you undo them later to stage the next one. Then we'll put some pictures of that layout here, and just me, the trains I was running, including the B&O then that I restaged, coming across the bridge that's still in Leroy that did Rochester and Southern now crosses. And then I took some quick pictures around the layout of different scenery, the locomotive facility, and stuff like that. Okay, now Finger Lakes Railway. Paul Stamp, Deerline Customs, promoted his channel several times, even though he's has a lot more subscribers than I do. That's the one I really wanted to operate, and I did 2 jobs there. I did the GC2, which is the Finger Lakes Railway job that comes out of Geneva and goes to Canandaigua. And it serves Phelps Supply, DeLong, and Canandaigua Wine and Pactive Corp. Canandaigua Wine and Pactive Corp are in Canandaigua. DeLong is in Clifton Springs, I think. Yeah. And then Phelps Supply is in Phelps. Where's it? Whatever. And then I did the HW2, which for right now he does not have Watkins go on, so it goes from Himrow Junction to Penn Yan, switches the 3 Industries in Penn Yan, which is a tight clearance place, but pretty simple to do. I mean, I was done over there in, let's see, it didn't take me long to do that. I think only took me half an hour to switch Penn Yan. Himrod took a little bit longer because I had to build my train in the correct order. Although his instructions say that it has to be in the correct order, but I think I could put them in any order and still be able to do it, as long as and still be able to do it pretty quickly. However, for somebody who doesn't have their own layout, that they do a lot of switching on when it is working. Yeah. So next time I run up there, I'm gonna put them in a different order and make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, uh, the only scenic portion of his layout is the part that you've seen on most of the video. In fact, the thumbnail for this video, I think I'm going to do the vineyard. HW2, as I'm running HW2 with 1943 and 1989, it's going past the vineyard. He did a video on how he did that. I'll put that link in the description. The only issue with Paul's layout is how few cars he has, and it kind of makes operations a little bit more repetitive. We were talking at the restaurant about that he really needs to do the HG2, which runs from Geneva to Himrod and interchange and picks up the cars from Himrod, drops off more there, and takes them back to Geneva. The main thing to improve on that one, and I talked to Paul about this at the restaurant a little bit, is to have everything being interchanged off the layout, because it at the moment is day one you pull cars from those industries in GC2, and then then the next day the same cars go back to there. And even though I was working HW2, I was at Hemrod Yard, I'm seeing the same cars I just pulled behind me going out to Canandaigua, and it's kind of like, it kind of ruins the illusion. But he isn't planning on changing that. Paul, I hope you do eventually. I mean, you don't have very many cars right now. You don't have enough cars right now to do that, but I hope you do reconsider making interchange more active. There are some cars that he did actually have go off the layout, with cars from Nucor and stuff like that. But what I would say is try to build up your roster of rolling stock more. So you have more variety, and even before you do the Solvay extension, you could just take once you have enough cars, you can just take the cars from that would go to Solvay just out of Geneva Yard and put more in it. That's all you had to do, and put different ones in it, and then you have new cars. And when you do Solvay, you can have an interchange track. You can have a track, a couple yard tracks, and just put new cars in on one yard track and pull and take the ones that you drop off there off the layout. And it's that simple. Those are the only things I would change about it. You definitely need to get more scenery. But you're absolutely great at scenery, and I don't think you'll have any problem making the rest of the layout look as nice as Penny Ann does. Now, we'll put I'll put the two pictures at the end of the video, so I don't have to make another clip. Actually, I will put pictures here because I gotta move things over, so otherwise I'm gonna run out of memory. Okay, now after those two pictures, for the whole weekend, the main bad thing was the weather. I mean, it was fine going up to Chilai on Friday evening. Driving back was an absolute was absolutely horrible. I mean, we were going 30, 35. There were times that I could go 45. My car, Mini, is not good in the snow, in snowy roads, if they've plowed. The reason for that is I can get good traction on snow, packed snow or loose snow. It's when it's been plowed and it's sat enough, the salt and sand is sat enough that it's turning it slushy. And then my car does not like that. My car hydroplanes really well. Really well. So kind of slushy roads, it does not get good traction at all, and that's a little nerve-wracking. Usually I can correct something pretty quickly. It starts a little bit and poof, right back. But it's still a little bit not pleasant driving from Chile back here to Silver Springs. Other than that, the no sleep thing was not good. I mean, I rested my eyes several times at the restaurant. I'm just sitting there with my head down partly so the bill of the hat is blocking. My eyes were closed. Most of the time I was sitting there, Paul, my eyes were closed. I was sitting there just... They got to the point where my eyes were dry and they... But I was pretty much awake driving home. It was the last... When I got to work, I drove back 19, and 19 was bare all the way back. And on the way up, I took 246, and 246 is a north-south road. It's not sheltered. Same with Perry Road, which is... Yes, Sadie, what are you doing? Same with Perry Road, which continues from off 246, ends at 63, and Perry Road goes straight across from there up to just south of Leroy. That was also pretty bad. Perry Road was better because it hadn't been plowed as much, and I didn't have somebody ahead of me that was going 30 in an all-wheel drive vehicle. On roads that I was going 55 in a front-wheel drive vehicle that doesn't get good traction, the roads were good enough that I could drive 55 on them, and this guy ahead of me was going 30 in an all-wheel drive vehicle that had far superior traction to mine. That was kind of annoying. But he turned off on 63, and I continued up. I should have gone over up 19, because when I got to 19, it was bare. Wet, but bare. Sadie, do not get on me. You're calling me. Other than that, very nice guys. Owners of all the layouts are great guys. Apparently, I met Paul, the Finger Lakes Railway layout, previously. He was rail fanning when a War Bonnet came through. I think I remember seeing someone like him that looked like him then, but I have seen so many rail fans in the time that I have been watching trains since just after Conrail's merger that I can't remember them all. And I remember I've gotten 2 War Bonnet locomotives I can't remember when they were. They were a year ago, I think. Maybe more. I don't remember. I know one of them I got at night, and another one I got in the daytime. But it doesn't matter. Uh, the crews were great. Some didn't fully comprehend what they were doing. Uh, of the three layouts I operated on, my favorite is going to be the Main and Western. The reason for that is because at the north and south, at the east and west ends of his layout, they go in the same. You go to the same physical location, but they're different railroad locations. And when you get back in there, you take the locomotives off the layout, you put them in their drawers. He has drawers underneath, similar to the ones I have upstairs, only the black ones with the clear plastic. And they're all organized, pretty easy, didn't take very long to figure it out. And you build your train out of the drawers. When you get back, you break down your train into the drawers. The JMRA switch lists. Everything is pretty much randomized. And that is the type of operations I like. Scenery, absolutely fantastic. It looks like northern New England. I've never been to northern New England, but I've seen a lot of layouts set in northern New England and New England. I recognize the thing, the operating scheme from 1956 with the milk cart, with the milk, picking up the milk things. In fact, one of those pictures, if you rewind the video a lot, you'll see me stop with train 74. In fact, it's actually, you don't even need to rewind. Just go to the community tab and scroll down, and there's two pictures of me with one with me as 74, and the other 74 stopped at was it Walden Pond. I parked that train with the door of the milk cart right at the back of that truck. And the helpers, the only thing I would change in that is maybe more trains. But it took us 3 hours to do everything, but 2 of the trains needed helpers, so that takes a little bit of time too. But I'm a traffic heavy person. I like a lot of switching, a lot of traffic. So second favorite, that would be, that's hard to say, because Paul's Layout is a Finger Lakes Railway. I like the subject, but the operations aren't quite there yet. Scenery is great in the one section it's done, but the rest of it, there's nothing. There's a little bit of scenery in Geneva. Mike's layout, the scenery is fantastic, but the operations are lacking in that it's repetitive. It's doing the same thing, and then you undo it, and then you do the same thing. And that's he changes it for other times running the layout. I don't know, but from what I saw, a little bit repetitive. So I'm going to say operation standpoint, Paul's layout potential gets number 2 since it was an op session, but scenery, Mike's wins second behind Yeah, Gordon's, the Maine and Western. So that's my opinion. And Paul, if you're watching this, I forgot to tell you, I will, if a video, I'll comment it if you don't comment saying that you heard it. I don't remember if you mentioned this, but with the phones, the ditch lights and the headlight of your newly locomotive, when you come and going out, like we'll say GC2, I remember the first train I ran, because those you're leading with the locomotive back, but unlike the HW2, you're shoving the platform leading back. When they would switch ends in Canandaigua, the headlight on the what was the trailing unit, now lead unit, will not light up, and the ditch lights will not work unless you swap around the power in the app. And I don't think you mentioned that in the operating thing, but I figured it out pretty quickly. I just released the power and then switched around. So put in 2301 lead, put in 2301, then acquired 2306 with the reversed, and then the headlights and ditch lights worked. I don't remember if you mentioned that. That's something that you should mention. I figured out pretty quickly, but others wouldn't. Others might not care about headlights and ditch lights not working, going back the other way if they didn't do that little switch around in the throttle app. But fortunately it's a long video, but it's a lot of information to go through. So from CP Silver Springs, Mount Post 368, and then a Southern Tier line, keep on loving trains. Tim out.